Good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever, people. Here we are back in Kerbal Space Program with the career mode playthrough we're working on. So what we're going to do is have a quick look at the missions we've currently got, and then I'm going to run this one slightly differently to the normal ones in the hope of making it a bit more interesting. So what do we have available here? Munstone back with you. That is for the future. Flag on the Mun. Pretty much for the future. The big ones I want to do is that one, which is what I'm going to do first. Yeah, satellite into a polar orbit around Kerbin. So what I'm going to do is have a little look at what that orbit is in here. And it's this purple orbit here. So, or is it the green one? It's an interesting one. Satellite in a polar orbit of Kerbin. Okay. I'm going to guess there is another similar mission. Let's have a little look. Is there another one like that? Position a satellite in a polar orbit of Kerbin. Yeah, I'll grab that. Why not? While I'm at it. So, yeah. Right, so anyway, looking at these here are the two orbits we have to do. Integrated integrals. I love the names of some of these. But anyway, they're the two orbits we've got. Neither of them are massive. They're both polar. Polar orbit's a little bit interesting to get into. We'll come to that. So, what are we going to do? We are going to make a satellite. And what I'm going to do at this point is hand over to future editing me, and I'm going to do this a little bit quicker. So I will hand you over and I'll catch you in a bit. Again, I need to put some fins on that. In practice, what I'm actually going to do is swap that first stage out for something slightly more powerful. Now, as you can see, what I'm trying to do from this orbit here, I'm trying to get myself into, instead of the usual equatorial orbit, into a polar orbit. Hence why I fast forwarded earlier until the Space Centre was more or less aligned. It's not perfect. It's far from perfect, in fact, but it will save a lot of fuel changing planes in a bit, and hopefully should mean we have enough fuel to complete the mission. What I'm actually going to do at this point is throttle down. I've realised one thing I probably have forgotten here. I didn't put a battery on this thing. I don't think it needs a battery for the mission, but it could probably do with one for sanity. So let's get. I was going to do that as a manoeuvre node, but never mind. Let's do that so I can see. Ooh, don't have much electrical power, but never mind, don't need it. Right. So the aim here is orbit out to roughly where that ring is. Doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll do this in a couple of stages, and then we'll get out there and we shall see what we can do. I'm hoping I've got the fuel for this. There we go, never mind. Right, so look. Again, as I've had to do before, I'm just trying to get the solar panels to line up with the sun. And then we're going to... I'm not going to have the fuel to do this. Never mind, I'm going to try anyway. Not going to be too far off, but not going to have the fuel. Nearly. And it doesn't matter because we've run out of power. Yeah, right. Yeah. Just... yeah. I'm going to go put a flag on the mun. Yeah, I can do that. Right. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to come back to that mission later. Yeah. I need the mun lander X. Which I'll rename Munlander 2. Right, now what do we put in here? I have the EVA things, which I want. Basically, what I want is some more science that'll make building a satellite a bit easier. So that's got me that. Don't have all the stuff to do the surface experiments. Save that. Who's going to do this one? They're both as skilled as each other, so yeah. Honestly, that satellite mission was supposed to be a really simple one just to start the video with. Something I could do in fast forward and just yay. As instead it's become another how not to. Anyway, never mind. This one should work. Although I don't believe we've actually landed this thing on Mun yet. Did we? I know we did the simple lander. I can't remember if we dropped this one off. Should work. And on past performance, this means the next mission will be a rescue flight. But anyway, never mind. We shall see. This will get to orbit. I'm going to skip to orbit. I'll catch you in a minute. Occurred to me this thing could probably do some batteries as well, but never mind. Jump ahead a bit. Yeah, of course we've landed on Mun before. There's now 2 flags on Mun. Right, okay, this will be the 3rd. I just need to work out where we're going to put it. Now, as I said before, going into a slightly inclined orbit is easier from a distance. There's these other craters make quite inviting targets. Which way is Mun going to rotate? That way. That crater there is looking quite inviting. Yeah, let's go land there. Let's warp here. So, landing gear and lights seems a good idea. Yeah. Now I've actually set that. Not exactly wrong, but it could be a tad better. We actually want to aim a little bit further over so we can come over the crater and then drop into it. So what I'm going to do is find the orbital nodes. That's probably the one I want. Is that one, I believe. That'll do. All I need is just to extend that out a little bit. That land, it does look bananas when it's flying, this thing. Right, I'm going to warp to there. Bring that back to surface mode. That gets me over the crater, just about. And then we're going to... Yes, once I'm actually over the crater, which I'm sort of approaching the crater rim here, I'm going to burn the rest of this stage out, pretty much. Yeah, not all of it. I'm going to burn a lot of it out. I don't need to burn it all out because, well, I've got more delta V than I need to burn fuel. But there we go. So this, again, this is the sort of what I meant by this. This lander is slightly overpowered. I originally came up with this design, I think, on the Xbox. Something very, very similar to this. It was my my go-to ship for getting to Mun or Minmus. Horrendously over-engineered, as you can see, but it works. So there we go. I've never really been into... Ooh, what does that say? Contract complete? No, that's what I did last time. Yes, I've never really been into... I'm going to try and optimise this to the nth degree. Largely because I'm not very good at it. And let's go down a little bit further. That'll do. And then burn off a bit more of that. And drop that. Now we're not very high up. As you see, I have got fuel to burn at this point. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. Weird shadow effects there. Let's extend an antenna and then bleed off a little bit more of this velocity. Yeah, and the final stages of Mun landing tends to be all about just fine little adjustments to your velocity. This can be where especially on Minmus, where it's gravity's even less. You can end up really benefiting from turning the engines down a little bit, just to get a bit more sensitivity out of them. As you see, the lights are starting to illuminate the surface now. And we are drifting slightly, so we'll get Jeb to just correct that a little bit. Because he can do the really fine adjustments better than I can. And we have got some slightly different things to do when we're here this time, because we've got these EVA experiment kit things, which yeah, you need to play around with a little bit. Means he's got to take his parachute off. Let's just correct the descent drift again. And 2.9 is not ideal as landing velocity, but I'll take it. And we're coming down right next to this rather impressive looking rock. Again, just correct that. Make sure we're not actually going to land on it. Because we'd fall over. I don't want to fall over. Okay, slightly too much thrust there. We started to go up again, but again we're going up again, which I don't particularly want to. Yay. Ka-dunk. Okay. Not the best of landings, but we got away with it. So yeah, I'll take it. Shut down engine, shut down engine. Shut down engine. I can get rid of that. Check out the science. Where are we? East far side crater. Yeah, I'll take that. Crew report. East far side crater. And east far side crater again. Well, they're all going to be, aren't they? Quite well, I'd expect them to be anything else, but anyway. That's that. Right, so now we need to come in here. And swap those around a bit. And I've got too much weight. Yes, won't let me give him that because it's too heavy. Yeah, slightly frustrating. Jeb needs his backpack in order to get back in. But it appears I can't. What I'm wanting to do is pick the rest of those up and put them up there. Yeah. Get out of that. Space Center. Right, I'm just going to see if this works to get out of that little conundrum, which I didn't realise. So we'll go back to that, back into there, and fly that. Right. Let's see if I can do this here. And we're going to take the data out of there. Not that I really need it, but anyway. Going to go down all the way down to here, and we're going to let go. And this is Munn's east far side crater, so what I'm going to do is that first, because that'll burn through one of these things. As you see, he now plays golf, which I think is wonderful. That uses up one of his experiment packs. Plant flags, Munn East, far east side crater or east far side crater. So, east far side crater. That'll do. Grab another EVA report because I can. Later on you get to the point if you can take surface samples, which is rather nice. I'm going to come here, collect the data. Yes. This is about being able to pick up a few more sciencey type bits and some other bits and pieces that might help. He's got a light as well, so I can see what I'm doing. That, and basically the warning is he can't reset this. Somebody else can. He can't. The scientist of the starting four can reset them all. This is where if you go after Mimbus and you take a pod that can take 2 crew, you take a pilot and you take the scientist. Because if you do that. Stability on, reaction control on. You can reset the experiments, and if you can reset the experiments, there we are. This is why I put the ladders on. Put the ladders on. There's a much bigger target to aim for to grab at. So that's that. So we've now got lots and lots of science on board. There we are. That's what I needed to do. Basically, I need the jetpack. I don't specifically need the parachutes. I just want Jeb to have the parachute available to me. What that means is I need to modify the ship so it's got another cargo pod I can move things into. Right. Oh, look, there's one. There's one stuck up there. I didn't particularly want to press that, but never mind. Yeah. We'll go back to the ship and we will fly. We'll fly Jeb home. So the first thing I need to do, actually, I actually need to rename the ship. This is because the bottom stage is going to carry the name of whatever it's got. So I need to come into here. Configure vessel naming. That's going to be 3. There we are. That'll do. And what we're now going to do is take off, and I need to go in that direction, I believe. But in order to take off, decouple. That's the one on the bottom. Which again, I keep forgetting is there. There we go. Anyway, right. So throttle up a little bit and off we go. Whee! I just need to make sure I'm going in the right direction, which I am. Good. Do is that, and then I can see what I'm doing here. And again, I just need to get this into a semi-stable orbit, and then homeward bound we go. And for Munn, 20k orbit is fine. So what we're going to do is line up, warp to the maneuver because it's quicker than waiting. And it says it's a 17-second burn, so at about there will do. Off we go, and as you see, we've got plenty of fuel. Getting up into Mun orbits, 400-500 meters per second, it's not a vast amount. And then when you're in orbit, getting home isn't that much either. That'll do. And if I remember rightly, the place I want to burn for home from is about there. Because if I get it right, we can do most of the homeward trip from here. A little low, but it'll do. Right. Point to the maneuver node. Warp to the maneuver, because I most certainly don't want to do it now, which I've done more times than I care to remember. Do the manoeuvring completely the wrong part of the orbit. And as you see, yeah, 277's about 280 odd to get home. So about 800. If you've got about 800 meters per second in your Mun ascent stage, you're going home. Yeah, that. And I will cut the throttle back and trim this one a little bit once we get near to where I'm going. Kill that, that to stay on. And it might be a little bit small on the screen, but it's giving me the number I care about here. And frankly, that'll do. So what I'm going to do is warp there. Now what I'd like to do is those EVA experiment things in space, but I think I'm going to give that a miss on this one, bearing in mind I had a little bit of trouble there. As you see, yeah, the satellite I was fast trying to do to start with that turned out to be the little satellite that couldn't. But anyway, never mind. Right, that surface, and then we're going to warp to there. And we'll do the rest from out here where I can see what I'm doing. Oh, look at that. There's Kerbin again. Isn't Kerbin lovely? And we've got the EVA pack graphic has got itself stuck up there. Yeah, your call is important to us and all that sort of stuff, I think. That. Get rid of that bit because we don't need it anymore. And when I was putting this together, I wondered, did I really want the bigger version of that fuel tank? It can be useful. I mean, even though you've seen here, I don't really need it. In fact, I don't need it at all. It can be useful. You put that on, you get rid of this. You go with radial parachutes instead. You can put a docking port on the nose. Then that rear stage you can give the proper RCS thrusters to. Proper RCS fuel tanks rather than the diddy little bits that the command pod carries, and then away you go. And what you've now got is a version of this that, yes, it can land on Mun. It uses a bit more fuel to land on Mun because it's heavier, but as you saw, that wasn't really a problem. Can get back and can brake mechanically into Kerbin orbit if need be, and can then dock with something. So you start getting something that can go from Kerbin orbit to the surface of the Mun to Kerbin orbit again, quite nicely. Game doesn't really give you a lot of reason to build space stations, unfortunately. They are quite fun, but you get the odd contract. You must build a space station that can handle so many Kerbals, but you never get any reason to send more than one there at a time, really. There is a science lab part you can put on one, but it's much better off on a spacecraft. If you say go to Duna, you can put the science lab on board, and you can have it working science all the way back, which really does cheese the game to a truly incredible degree. Anyway, I'll catch you back at the Space Centre. As you see, that has indeed given me enough science to start considering doing a little bit more here. So what I'm going to do is come into here. Advanced construction. This is the one I want because I want that. Some of the others are good, but it's really that I want. DD fuel tanks. And what else we got? Landing, which gives me better legs. And a big parachute, which is useful when we get the big command pod. Fan shrouds, nose. Oh yes, you've got propellers now, haven't you? Yeah, they're very, very cheaty because they're electrically powered. Or they can be electrically powered, yes. Liquid fuel outputs angular acceleration. There is an electric motor version, which is brilliant because you can just fly it with solar panels. I'm going to take the landing system stuff out of that. Right, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to end this here, because otherwise this episode's going to get rather long. I'm then going to come back into the... we'll be back in the next one, and I'm going to nail those flipping satellite contracts. I'll catch you about. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for watching. As usual, any comments, subscriptions, suggestions, funny anecdotes or anything like that, more than welcome. And otherwise, I will see you around. Thank you very much for watching again, and goodbye.